Hello, everybody, and welcome back to League of Europe F2. We are at the final round somehow. We've made it to the end of the season. We are at Belgium, as you can probably see now before you. And I am joined today, not by Mark, but by Jake.
Season. Normally you'll see me in D3 or hear me. Was F2 D2 last season, so I thought I'd drop by, and very excited for this one.
And I've already made my first mistake of the stream by not putting the sound on. But there we go. It started already. Professionalism, 10 out of 10. And they are finally starting their qualifying laps. And it's put me with Nathan again. So it always puts me with Nathan every week. It's like they know that he's the quickest driver on the grid. So I don't know if you want to take this along.
Well, I'm on board with Tin Can right now, but let's go for it. So, third gear through Lacombe. These cars understeer like a boat. You always slightly underestimate overestimate how much grip they have for you. This is going to be an awful corner now. Bruxelles, it's called. So says the track map. I have no idea, but it takes corner lasts an eternity. Flip the car to the right hand side, chop it into the left of No Name. You can see massive understeer there for Tin Can, who I'm on board with. I'm not sure if you're still with Nathan or not, but down the hill towards Pouon, down a gear, flick it in, don't touch the curb. They're lethal. They can spin you out. Well, at least in the F1 cars they can. And now bring the car to the left hand side for the Lefani chicane. Another really tricky corner. Some auto spin curbs here. Ariel Carmentless retired from the session. Nicely taken by Tin Can there. He doesn't use all the curb on the exit, comes back to the left of the track for Campus, and then Stavlo, and again you can see the understeer in the front of the car. The car just doesn't want to bite into the track. Revving out in fourth gear, up into fifth, and now just an easy ride all the way down the back straight towards the left of Blanchimon, and then the bus stop chicane. We've got Campbell on provisional pole right now from Larkin, Rocco, Tin Can. Our champion Nathan down in fifth right now. Everything is going to be on this last chicane. Very easy to make or break your lap here. You can gain a lot of time, you can lose it as well. Don't want to ride the curbs too much. That's nicely done from Tin Can. He hooks it up nicely, stays to the right hand side of the track for the shortest run to the line, powers across, and it's a 55.4 for QVR Campbell.
That is a very good recovery actually from Nathan, because I was on board with him up until whatever that corner is called, the hairpin. And he had a very nice slide out of the corner before. Probably lost about half a second, really. So he's done well there to recover to second place on the feature race grid. But it is Campbell, the second place man in the championship, takes 2 points for the pole position, and we will start in first place for the feature with Nathan second, Rocco third. Rocco trying to secure battling with Larkin fourth in the championship. 2 points between them. Rocco just behind, but he's in third with Tin Can on the second row. Larkin fifth, Verstappen sixth.
Interrupt you. We're restarting the lobby because setups are turned on.
Ooh.
So we're going to have an attempt 2 at qualifying, because I don't think we're going to stick with that grid.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't. If setups are turned on, then you can't assume everyone hasn't used one.
Well, the Discord telling us that Campbell did use a cheeky setup for that lap, so there's a setup tax on that pole lap, quarter of a second, not a pole in my book. But yeah, so I'm sure we'll run qualifying again, everyone flooding out of the lobby, and then we'll probably get another qualifying session where Nathan does get pole this time.
Yeah, Nathan, chance to rectify his mistake, although, let's be honest, doesn't really need to. After wrapping up the championship last week, wrapping up both championships actually last week, so it's just the battles down the field, but they will have a second crack at this qualifying session at Spa. I'm gutted actually, because it was quite cloudy in that race. I don't know if there was going to be rain or not, but it might be completely different for this new session.
I did ask to be kept informed of the weather, and no one was willing to oblige. I think they thought it'd be more fun for us if we have no idea what's going to happen. Everyone flooding out of the lobby. but we've got a formation up for whoever's left in it. Lots of ghosts. But I'm not sure why we need a new lobby. We could have just retired from this one. Actually, no, sprint race.
Yeah.
Of course, sprint race. See, that's how much of a noob I am to this F2 commentary lark. Forgot there's 2 races we're commentating over this evening. Well, in the meantime, why don't we take a break from F2 and talk about F1, because it's much more interesting. So you got your first podium last time at Belgium. You going to win a championship now? Is the wins in your sails?
It's odds on. If I don't, I'm just giving everyone a chance at the moment, you know.
I don't want to expose you like this, but you're currently in 13th in the championship. Unlucky for some. You did miss the first 3 races.
I am a reserve.
You are a reserve. So since you've joined, you've missed 2 races and scored points at 5 of them. 3 of those points scoring finishes being 10th, 11th, and 12th. So
It's better than 13th.
particularly better than 13th, which is where you stand overall, of course. But no, I want to ask you seriously about this. Is the D3 commentator, as we await for a new lobby, what's your... do you think's going to win D3 this season? We've got Brendan, Tin Can and Carwin Robb. I apologise talking about F1, but F2 is a dead rubber tonight. Let's be real, the title's won. Who's going to win D3? That's the big question.
Well, first off, it is definitely going down to that final race of the season. I'll put up the standings so I can have a look.
Well, we've got Forza Brendan with a 21-point lead over XL Tin Can. And he will tell you that he races well when Villa play badly, and Villa are playing very badly right now. So, momentum with Tin Can. Carwin Robb is further 9 points back on 124, so 30 points split the top 3. I honestly couldn't call it. Brendan's leading, but Brendan is a bottle when he gets in a title fight. Tin Can doesn't quite have a natural edge in raw speed ability, and then you've got Carwin Robb, who's also quick but also a bottle. So I think that's very finely poised.
Yeah, well, obviously Brendan has the points advantage at the moment, but I think the momentum kind of is with Tin Can. I was last week, the last race at Belgium was it didn't end quite the way it wanted, but you could say in that race him and Brendan were the two. Carwin Robb has the pace in qualifying, but he's been a bit unlucky at times with incidents, so he's still in it, but I'd edge towards Tin Can or Brendan. But with I'd edge towards Tin Can having the better run. But with the points advantage that Brendan has, it's gonna go right down to the wire. I'm not biased at all. But I'm gonna edge towards Tin Can.
I wouldn't expect anything less of a professional like yourself.
Obviously, yeah.
I mean, I don't disagree with you there. I think Tin Can's in a very good place. All 3 of them though have looked like really strong at various points. Brendan had a run of 5 podiums in a row from Britain to Austria, including 2 wins, 2 second places. Carwin Robb got wind in his sails. Singapore, France, Russia. He finished first, second, first, and then won again at Hungary after a DNF Austria. And then Tin Can took 2 wins from 2 starts, Austria and Portugal. So like all 3 of them have looked remarkably strong at various points. It's just a very interesting one.
Yeah.
I know that's a weird way to fill the gap, but I couldn't think of anything to say about FC because I've not followed it all season.
Yeah.
But we are getting underway again. Finally, without setups.
Let's see if Campbell can do it again without setup.
Well, there's a tax to apply there because he did that lap with a setup. So, but Tin Can claiming there that he didn't use a setup and he qualified very strongly. So perhaps we might see the order just shake up a little bit. Those people who thought they were being clever getting dumped down the bottom.
Yeah, Well, Campbell's pace is naturally up the front anyway, but it is just surprising that Nathan isn't on pole because most of the time
Well, he's Nathan.
he is, yeah. So he did make a small mistake, but you think if Campbell didn't have a setup, he probably could have still got pole. So that is quite scary, to be honest. The pace Nathan has, and it's put me on board with Nathan yet again.
Same this time, thankfully. And I'll take you through the lap again, even though we've already done it once. But he's riding on board with Nikita Mazepin's car. I think that's telling, isn't it, that the F2 champions are usually a little bit dirty. Toxic was back in the day. He got his elbows out on more than one occasion. Incurred the wrath of the stewards, and people just ended up diving out of his way. I feel like they do the same to Nathan, because you have Nathan behind you, Nikita Mazepin's car, you know he's coming through. And here we go now towards Lecombe, the first interesting part of the track. Does he make a mistake this time? And rides the curb slicing, maybe a little bit more hesitant there than he needed to be, but that's nicely done. And he's only in 6th place right now, though, according to the timing tower on the left of the screen, so he needs to pull something out of his backside through this middle sector, no doubt. He will, as he chucks it into No Name. Downhill, it's a very tricky corner, No Name, very easy to run wide in F1 cars. And look at this, using the esports line down towards Pouon, and he's lagging, and I can't tell if he's made a mistake or not there. He's up into 3rd place, down to 4th. Verstappen and him nip and tuck. Farrell Fury as well. Larkin's clear, but you said about Will Campbell keep his advantage. He's down to 5th right now. Not very good for the washed-up Scot. But here we go through the end of the 2nd sector. Nicely done through Campbell's. Really smooth, tidy lap this from Nathan. I'm enjoying his inputs, seeing his apexes. He runs wide though, and he's invalidated. He's plummeted down to 12th place. Larkin's invalidated as well. Verstappen is now on provisional pole. Rocco 2nd, Campbell 3rd, Farrell through 4th. Calvin, the native Belgian, in 5th place. And well, that's an interesting grid now. We've got Tin Can, Larkin, Nathan, who are all remarkably quick in these F2 cars, all coming through from the back of the field. They've got Dari Eisen and Ibo behind them. But that's spicy.
Yeah, and I just watched Nathan cross. They pretty much crossed the line at the exact same time as Verstappen, so he could have got pole there or just been 2nd. So that is well, he won't care much because obviously the championship's done, but you never want to start towards the back. But there is the grid. So instead of Campbell taking the 2 points, it is going to be Verstappen taking the 2 points, which gets him slightly closer to Campbell, actually gives him a better chance of trying to overturn a 28-point gap into for 2nd place. But there we go, Verstappen on pole next to Campbell. Calvin at his home event in 3rd, Rocco 4th. Farrell Fury in 5th, very good qualifying again from the Irishman. B. Morgan 6th, Carmentalist in 7th. James, good qualifying. Decent qualifying. His pace has really picked up at the end of the season in 8th place. Jordan 9th and Ryan 10th. And then everyone below that did not get a valid lap time in.
I have to say I'm thoroughly repping the James Fossey here. I'm all on the bandwagon for James to get a podium or even a win at the last race, and why not? As James said, we love him. But my bias out the window there. I have to say, I've been in parties with James Head during races. He's an absolute lunatic, but a very lovable one. Yeah, so do you see anyone other than Verstappen or Campbell taking this feature race? Do you think we're going to see a charge from the back? Larkin, maybe? Larkin's really good in these sort of situations, just picking his way through, being a bit of an old strap merchant. Nathan, of course, being Nathan. Can you see anyone other though than the front two here for this race?
Well, you can never rule out Nathan. But I actually, for some reason, I can see Rocco if he avoids incidents.
If he avoids Larkin.
Yeah, and if he avoids Larkin, which I mean, if he's getting anywhere near Larkin, that's not great for him. Considering where they start, but yeah, Verstappen and Campbell just seem. Well, Verstappen particularly he was matching Nathan, so if you're matching Nathan, you've got a very good chance to go on and win this. Tyres wise, has anyone actually gone for that alternate strategy? They have in the top 10. Just B Morgan on the medium compound of tyres, and then Larkin, Darien, Tin Can are the others outside the top 10 on the alternate strategy.
Well, I think there's much more appeal in F2 doing the alt strat than in F1. Because of course in F2, well in F1 if there's a lap 1 safety car, those on the softer tyres could pit for mediums or hards or whatever and go to the end. But in F2 of course, you don't have the luxury of making your mandatory pit stop. As Verstappen is practicing the esports line on his formation. That's how much of a sweat that man is. You don't have the luxury of making your mandatory stop in the first 3 laps. So whether you start softs, whether you start mediums, an early safety car is helpful to nobody, which I think hands the initiative really to the medium starters. So I'm surprised B. Morgan's the only one that's gone for it. I'd expect someone maybe like Car Mentalist or Jordan to try it from a position where they are. They're the kind of drivers that navigate through tricky races with consummate professionalism and composure. And outside the top 10, only 3 people doing it. I'm a bit surprised. But then I've not sat and watched F2 all season like you have, so maybe I'm talking out my backside and actually everyone's doing the right thing. But I'll summarise and say that this is going to be Campbell for the win, Verstappen second, Rocco third. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I'm going to go Rocco, Campbell, Verstappen. I can't see another top 3 really, unless Nathan really gets through the field in the first 2 laps or so.
Oh, well, I'll ride on board with Nathan through La Source and up Beau Rouge, because I'm sure it's going to be a fascinating charge from him.
Yep, as the grid now gets ready on the grid, Ibo at the back, getting into his slot in 16th in the Trident, as we are going to have the lights in a few seconds. Here we go, 3, 4, 5 red lights for the feature race in Spa, and away we go. Good start from the front 2. James in the background getting a decent getaway as well, as Verstappen cuts across into the lead, holds it. As Calvin and Rocco are side by side through the exit of La Source. Is Rocco going to have an opportunity down towards down the hill towards Eau Rouge, and Rocco has that move into P3 already. So good start from the 5th place man in the championship. Further back, Larkin's had a good start as well.
Here comes QVR Campbell, alongside. They're nearly 3 wide. Rocco's trying to have a look as well. Campbell's round the outside of the comma. Verstappen's dropped it, and Rocco smashes into the back of him there. Calvin has to get out the throttle as well, and that's given Campbell a huge jump at the front. I think Verstappen just had no confidence through Lecom, and look at Calvin now. He's up the inside of Farrell Fury into the hairpin. Towards No Name. They're going to be side by side. This is going to be very tricky if Calvin's going to have any room on the outside here, and he has to back out of that one. And Nathan, look at Nathan. He's up into 6th place, charging down Calvin and Farrell Fury. He's going to have a look in P1. He has to back out. He's not that much of a F2 wizard. But what a start for Nathan, and Campbell as well into the lead now.
Yeah, very, very good tow down the Kemmel Straight, as you normally see at Spa. Normally better to be second on the grid and just follow the first place driver down towards the chicane at Lecom, and it's paid off for the Scot, as we've got Farrell Fury going a bit wide, Calvin all over the back of him, and obviously Nathan at the back of these 3 as well. So here we have it, Farrell Fury, Calvin side by side as they come up to Blanchimont. Nathan's getting involved as well. They're all side by side. This is going to be so close as contact as they come through the fast left-hander. And this is going to be Nathan up the inside of of both of them. This is going to be so close on exit.
Look at Larkin, Look at Larkin behind. He got right in there amongst James Head. He had a very poor exit. I thought he was going to get past Nathan there, who was forced wider to a touch out of the last corner. That was a bizarre series of events. Look at Calvin. He's going deep into turn 1, completely bottles it. Nathan's really slow off the corners here. Larkin's going right back in.
Sorry to interrupt.
I didn't even notice. Right. I got so into that. I was like, why is Calvin going slow? We've got a virtual safety car.
Yeah, Eisen is out.
Oh no, and Nathan's cut Radion under VSC. And look at the jump he's got as it's gone in. He's boxed in by Farrell Fury. He's onto the grass nearly side by side. This is 3 wide. And Calvin's trying to pull out as well. I would not want to be where Farrell Fury is right now. Nathan just surges up the inside. takes 4th place. And he's very much in the battle for this win now, but look how much time he's lost those behind. Calvin and Feral Fury still at it through Malmedy. Larkin lurking as well, like a predator hunting for some supper here. And there he goes, nearly up the inside of Calvin. And he is going to have a second bite at it. Calvin has to back out, not once, not twice. And here comes Larkin around the outside on those medium tyres. And is he going to get this done down towards Pouon? I don't think Calvin's got any confidence in his tyres right now. And yeah, he just gives way to Larkin just like that into Pouon.
Yeah, he didn't want to fight that really. Yeah, he just didn't seem to have any confidence either in the car or on the tyres, but loses a couple of positions to Nathan and Larkin there. Oh, and Calvin's actually dropped it in the wall, and his teammate has done exactly the same thing right next to him. That is one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. Both HWAs have crashed out the exact same corner, the exact same time, in the exact same way. That they both dropped it on the curb, coming out of the Lefania chicane. And we have a full course safety car on lap 2.
But no one can come into the pits,
Yeah.
which is a shame for them, because we need to wait to the end of lap 3. So it's going to stay as you were. Campbell from Verstappen, from Rocco, Nathan with farcical penalty. I think I was on board for all 3 of his warnings, actually. None of them were particularly glamorous. The last one, the cutting Irradion, was particularly poor. I'd say it's the last race of the season, you tend to get that sort of thing. And here we come now, catching up the safety car. And this is nice, because it brings Nathan right back into play. He had dropped 2 seconds behind Rocco. He's right in it now. And you have to say, with the nature of this track, Verstappen, Rocco, Campbell are going to be very vulnerable on that run all the way up. Climb all the way up by Rouge and Radion, all the way down the Camel Straight to Le Com. There's a chance here for Nathan to gain not 1, not 2, maybe even 3 places if he plays his cards right. If he nails this restart, he could be right in it from 11th on the grid to be 2nd or 1st after just 3 laps.
Yeah, he is absolutely nailed this start of the race. He's done exactly what he needed to do after that qualifying lap. Up to 4th, just cuts his way through. That top 3 looked like they would kind of get away. And Nathan, if he got 4th, then it's a pretty good recovery. But now with the safety car, it has, as you said, it's put these 3 right under some real pressure from the championship. I'll get my words out at some point. Real pressure from the champion behind. You just have that penalty, but God knows if that's going to get reviewed. But this safety car...
If I'm honest, I don't think it will. One of them cut turn 1 on lap 1. 3rd one, I said he cut Radion. That will not get removed. 2nd one, I think, was at No Name, if I remember correctly, but I'm not sure. But all 3 guys who are out of position on the grid. Nathan is up 7, Larkin's up 6, Tin Can is up 6. It didn't really hold them back too much, did it? Being out of place on the grid. They're all 3 of them in the top 8. Tin Can, in his case, on a lovely reverse grid pole right now. James Head's had a tidy job of it as well. He got overtaken by Larkin and Nathan, but he's up 1 place. It's been a real shift on the grid, hasn't there, from where people qualified. It's properly mixed it up. Calvin's DNF helping that, but only Feral Fury currently sitting where he started.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting whether guys do come into the pits, and there we have it, Campbell into the pits, and I'm assuming that is going to be most of the field following him in. This is going to severely hurt the medium runners, who are going to shuffle towards the front, the 3 of them, but with slightly faster drivers behind them on fresher tyres, having to not do another stop, it's going to be very difficult for them to get back into this race without another safety car. But you never know, especially in F2 with the amount of safety cars we do tend to get. But there we go. Campbell comes back out onto the track. Ibo did pit on lap 2, but we will ignore it because it's Ibo. And he is an exception to the rules. The rules do not apply. And he's in 4th right now, so he's doing a really good job.
You are right, and out front, those guys, the Morgan, Tin Can, Larkin, they're properly been, I want to use a stronger word, but they've properly been done over, haven't they, by this safety car. As you say, everyone came in, who started soft. So these guys need another safety car to make it work. Of course, safety car's well timed, it could work beautifully for them, but even then, you can't see the people who've already pitting again under a safety car. So either way, when these guys pit, they're going to be really far off the back of the field. Best they can hope for, I think, is a bit of a madness. And sprint race pole is, I think, really all that's on offer for Larkin, Tinkan and Morgan. I'll happily eat my words in about 20 minutes' time when Larkin wins this race. But for now, it's really gone for these guys, hasn't it? I suppose there's no chance of thinking they could have done 9 or 10 laps on a set of softs, so yeah, you got a feel for them when a safety car comes your way and it's not in your favour. It's happened a lot. I've seen in D3 this season. It happens a lot in every league, but it's just unfortunate, isn't it, for these guys who, because you don't do anything wrong and you end up just absolutely nowhere. But it has put this race on a plate for Campbell, Verstappen and Rocco, and later we mentioned as well, but with that penalty.
Yeah,
so I think you're right. I think this is Campbell, Verstappen and Rocco's to lose here.
Yeah, and speaking of doing 9 to 10 laps on a set of softs, one of the medium runners did actually come into the pits on lap 3, and that was the Carlin of Pharrell Fury. He's gone on to the softs. I don't know whether he intended to do that, but he is on those, and no, he's come back into the pits now, so I think he's going on to another set of mediums. So, yeah.
I think he's on to something here. You get 2 sets of mediums, one for the feature, one for the sprint. The tyres that Larkin, Tinkan and Morgan have started on, they could have pit onto softs, pit onto the fresh set of mediums, and then keep the tyres they've started this race on for the sprint. I think that would have been genius. They would have been at the back, but they would have at least been in the race. Because right now, they're not in the race. They're effectively back markers to Campbell et al. I think Ibo's had a masterstroke here.
Yeah, that is the other thing though. You very severely compromised the feature race. No, the sprint race. Sorry.
Only by 3 laps. It could be worse. It could be a worse situation to be in, I think.
But the other thing is, due to it being Spa, those 3 laps are 5 laps somewhere else. So those tyres are going to be in a very bad shape at the end of that sprint race, as they normally are anyway. But yeah, even though it's the last round of the season, you could potentially do that, but you'd lose a lot of positions anyway. So it's a gamble.
I suppose it's a trade-off between, do you write off this race so that even if they get another safety car, they're still going to be consigned to the back of the field, albeit on fresh softs or fresh air softs, or do they compromise their sprint race for the sake of trying to save their feature a little bit? I think you're probably right. I mean, you know more about F2 than I do. If you think those tyres wouldn't make it through the sprint, I'm inclined to agree. But hopefully we're back under green flag at the end of this lap.
Yeah, hopefully. And there we go. It's like you can predict the future there. Very well timed indeed. But we are going to get things underway with Larkin leading the field. Those top 3 still to pit. You have to do 1 mandatory pit stop in the feature race after lap 3, so that's why everyone stayed out in for the first lap of that safety car. But everyone from 4th down has now done that stop. So Campbell is the effective leader, but Larkin gets to decide when we go green as we come through Blanchimont. I don't think he'll go until he comes out of the bus stop chicane. As we're on board with him, he's just weaving his way along into the chicane at the end of the lap, and I assume he's going to go as he comes out of this corner. No, he's not. He's going to wait even further, and there he goes now. So has he caught anyone napping? No, Tin Can kind of went with him. Campbell already looking for a move on B Morgan down the pit straight. Is he going to get that done into turn 1? They are very close on exit, but Campbell is just slightly ahead as they're going to run down the hill. 2-0 Rouge. B Morgan on the outside. I think he's going to probably have to let Campbell go here. This is going to be close. There's contact, but they managed to get through, and Campbell up to 3rd position. So in the net leaders, Verstappen goes through as well. Feral Fury picks up a penalty, and now Rocco right on the back as well. They're going to go 3 wide here. This is going to be so close, and B Morgan's hit the wall.
I don't want to say out front that's Rocco's fault. Nathan's nearly getting past Rocco as well. I don't think that's completely Rocco's fault. B Morgan traipses over the grass there at Lake and Nathan's nearly dropped it out of Malmedy. Loses quite a bit of time there, but I think Rocco, in the position he was in, he was pegged between 2 cars. Whichever way he went, he was taking one of them out. So, well, I have to see another point of view, but I think it'd be hard to lay all of that blame at Rocco's door, because he couldn't have done much more with the overspeed that he had. And look at Campbell's already right to the back of Tin Can now. It's not working out for these guys, is it? Who have stayed out. Tin Can looking very vulnerable to the UNI from Campbell. We've got a yellow flag in the background. I think that is for James Head, who has dropped it, or something's happened to him through Puon. And this must be painful for Larkin and Tin Can, knowing the guys behind you have already done their stops. There's nothing you can do to keep them at bay. And Verstappen's following Campbell really closely. I think this is going to be a place for Campbell, maybe a place for Verstappen as well, because Tin Can, he's not got too much slipstream from Larkin, and Campbell's trying to go on the grass around the outside. That is not a wise place to be. He runs wide again at Blanchimont. This is going to put Verstappen in a position to make a double move. Is he going to, he backs out of that one and try and take a look at this? He takes a wider, steeper angle through the second part of the bus stop, and then you get a straighter line down to La Source. It's not Campbell's mistake, hasn't cost him too much, and here he comes. We got La Source. Is the Campbell into the braking zone? Tin Can leaves a very generous amount of room, and a bit of rear locking for Campbell there. Nearly slides around the corner. Nathan and Rocco part 2 at it behind. Nathan is back ahead of Rocco, but look at this little 3-car train as they come up the Rouge.
Yeah, this is insanely close as they come up to the DRS. Well, no DRS yet, but up to what would be the DRS straight on the Kemmel straight. Tin Can weaving all over the place, trying to defend. Goes to the middle of the road. Verstappen's going to go up the inside. They're going to go 3 wide into this. I've forgotten the name of the corner. Tin Can holds the position.
That was marvellous from Tin Can.
And they all actually hold position. We have yellow flags. Ryan B is out of the session. I think we might just avoid a safety car for that, as Nathan is going round the outside of Verstappen at Bruxelles into no-name corner. Is Nathan going to keep this position? No, Verstappen's going to get a great run out of the corner in towards the injury of Puon, and Verstappen holds that, but he has just fallen back from the back of Campbell as at this moment in time.
And Rocco as well. Look at Rocco on the back of these guys. Any mistake, any slip-up, and he is up not 1 place but 2. And Tin Can is keeping quite a train here. He's letting Larkin get away, albeit not by much. And Campbell will have a second run at Tin Can down towards Blanchimont here. Verstappen not far back either. But look at the tremendous drive that Nathan is getting here on them. Rocco as well. It feels like these cars are in reverse pace order, and that has just set it up so nicely for some cracking action. But we're going to jump ahead because Campbell, he's in Tin Can slipstream. Tin Can understeers a little bit through Blanchimont. He's going to cover the inside line. I think Campbell's going to take to the right-hand side of the track, is he? He is, he backs out. But look how Blake Verstappen is on the brakes behind him, and they nearly collide. Nathan has to run wide as well. That gives Rocco an incentive. Rocco nearly catches Nathan unawares on the exit. As it is, I think Nathan's going to go on the attack on Verstappen, and Campbell still can't get past Tin Can. Here comes Nathan up Verstappen now. He needs to make this move stick if he wants to gain the place, because he has got that penalty. DRS is in effect this lap. I think that's why Campbell maybe didn't take the risk he needed to. But wow, this is a fabulous train, and Verstappen pushing Nathan's high-tech up the hill. Nathan's got DRS, Verstappen's got DRS, but Nathan doesn't quite have the slipstream he needs on Tin Can, but he's quickly falling back towards him. Campbell is through on the Tin Can. He's going to be released onto Larkin now, but these guys battling away like crazy. I think Nathan is he going to send this on Tin Can into there? Then he'd be a brave man to send it there. Tin Can covers the inside line very late. Nathan is in fact physically pushing him around Bruxelles. Verstappen keeping a watching brief. Rocco as well. And I was about to hand over to you, but look at the... Tin Can had a terrible exit out of no name. Side by side through P1, you've got to be a very ballsy man to have a go around there. Nathan backs out, but again, every time he has to back out on Tin Can, that just gives Verstappen a chance to edge a little bit closer.
Yeah, the perfectly timed move on Verstappen into turn 1 by Nathan. Just held the DRS of the cars in front as well as he got activated this, enabled this lap. But now all over the back of Tin Can, as Campbell's trying to chase down Larkin for the lead of this race, with Larkin, Tin Can still yet to pit. Nathan does have that 3-second penalty as he's going to go to the inside of Tin Can now on the run into Blanchimont. Is he going to get this move done? Yes, he is. Tin Can can't hold it round the outside, and Nathan moves up to third place as we have Verstappen looking behind Tin Can.
Oh, Tin Can's gone for it again. Nathan takes evasive action, takes a deep line into the first part of bus stop. That'll tighten his exit a little bit. Sorry to cut across you there, but Rocco and Verstappen at it as well towards the source. They are properly neck and neck, tyre face to tyre face. Here comes Rocco trying to outbrake around the outside. He'll have a steeper line. That'll give him the chance to get a better exit. But Verstappen just about holds on.
Very good defending from Verstappen. He had to go wide to avoid Tin Can going deep into the final corner. But now here we are. All three of them are going to... This is going to be 3 wide again. As Rocco goes to the outside. Verstappen looking for the inside. Can't really get anything done. And he's going to lose out. Tin Can's going to lose out to Rocco here and to Verstappen. This is going to be so close. As they come up to Malmedy. Tin Can on the inside. Verstappen around the outside. Can he hold that position? Yes, he can. So they both get through. Tin Can down to 6th place now. But Rocco passed both of them.
We didn't even notice it with all the madness going on behind, but Campbell safely ahead of XL Larkin now, and Nathan I don't think will be too far behind. He's 8/10 back from Larkin, whose tyres, safe to say, are not in the best of shape right now, and Rocco and Verstappen also not too far back. We've got such a delightful battle for the win of this race. Campbell, Rocco and Verstappen. I'm not going to include Nathan in that for now with his 3-second penalty, but that can quickly change if we see some more penalties coming in. But yeah, Larkin, it's not worked out for him, has it? With the safety car, he's in no man's land. When he pits, he's going to come out well behind James Head, well clear of Ibo. I don't think there's really anything he can do really to stop this relentless assault that's about to come at him. That wasn't an intended pun, but I'll take it. It is a pun, because here comes relentless Nathan, 4/10 of a second behind. Larkin just about hanging in Campbell's DRS for now, but he's going to come into the pits anyway, so the relentless assault never materialised. Nathan's through into the net 2nd place. Campbell sets fastest lap with his overtake, is well in that lap. And just a second back, we've got Rocco and Verstappen still looking to trade places again. Rocco a little bit slow off La Source there, and that's going to give Verstappen a big run up the hill. I'll be surprised if we don't see him changing places at the end of the straight.
Yeah, Verstappen does look just a bit faster than Rocco in the right places, and he gets a good run up Radion, and he's now going to have the DRS down the Kemmel straight as he opens it, goes to the inside, and he should get this move done well before the corner. There he goes, he cuts across into Le Comte, and he takes P3. So if he can stay with Nathan, this is potential 2nd place. And Rocco could still get the podium, but Campbell looks in a very good position for this win. And actually, I didn't even notice the two Carlin drivers up in 5th and 6th right now, so they're doing a very good job themselves.
Yeah, not Verstappen, Carl Mentley, sorry. He was the last man out of the pits when that safety car came in, and now he's in 5th place. I think he was last out of everybody when the safety car came out, so he's done a stellar job to put himself back up into 5th. He's under pressure now from his teammate, though, as you say, Farrell Fury, but they are plundering along nicely there. And if there's any kind of misfortune that befalls Nathan up front, you have to say they could well be there to grab a place off. And Nathan, in the meantime, speaking of, the set's a purple middle sector. He's on a cracking lap here. He's narrowed the arrears to Campbell to 1.0 seconds. He's in touching distance of DRS range, and I think if he has a good bus stop, a good La Source, he's going to be right in the back of Campbell going up the main straight. It's, of course, it's one of the longest flat-out sections on the Formula 1 calendar. Over 20 seconds in a Formula 1 car at full pelt. More than that, of course, in the slower F2. There is the fastest lap for Nathan. The gap stand briefly at 1.001, and in his desperation, he goes deep at turn 1. That's going to cost him time. Depends on his exit, though. He's got a good exit because of that deeper line, but I don't think it's enough. He's just outside of DRS range on this lap. And the main battle, as it was last time round, is Campbell v Rocco, but Verstappen v Rocco, but Verstappen stretching away more than Rocco was.
Yeah, Verstappen does just naturally have that pace over Rocco. A few tenths a lap, but in the right places. And Rocco, what he can do is stay in that DRS. As Ferrell Fury has actually got past his teammate now into Les Combes on lap 11. James has actually moved up past Jordan as well, so he has a penalty. He's trying to make his way back after that earlier spin. He's doing a very good job of it. Of the medium runners at the start, back on the softs, Larkin 13.5 seconds off the back of Jordan, so it's going to be a challenge for him to gain any positions before the end of the race. He's going to have to benefit from someone else's misfortune if he is to do that, but well inside the points. Everyone, if they finish now, will score points, as the closest battle is still the Carlins and Rocco and Verstappen, still the two main battles on track.
I think what Larkin, well, the thing that we baiting Larkin along is that if one person does drop out, he's got sprint race pole. He is, of course, going to give them very quickly on those fresh softs, but he needs one person out, and he is on sprint race pole. And look at Nathan now, less than 2 tenths behind Campbell going into bus stop. He's piling the pressure on this man. Gets a really nice tight line through the second part off bus stop. He's going to have a nice little run, and someone is out or has spun, but it's B Morgan, so that's no help to the guys who started on softs. On medium, sorry. But look at how lovely the line was from Nathan there through Lassource. He got it turned in nice and sharply, and now I don't think there's anything Campbell can do to hold back the assault of this man, the F2 champion, because look how much he's on climbing all over the back of him, and he's not even off the top of Radion. Here we go now. Campbell comes inside. It's all he can do. Passes that to Larkin, but that is a textbook as you like it from Nathan for a Campbell straight overtake. Campbell just tucks in behind him, and we'll have to hope that he stays within 3 seconds. I'm sure he will, but far less questionable as Rocco is back ahead of Verstappen is whether these guys are going to stay in the penalty range. And I don't think they are, because they're battling so hard. Look at Verstappen into the hairpin there. He's going to try and peg it out the inside. I don't know why I said peg it, that was a terrible choice of verb. But here we come now. He's squeezed a little bit on the outside. Has to back out a bit towards No Name, but he'll have a run through Pouon, and it's going to put pressure on Rocco, and it might even, well, if they had any hopes of getting a podium place from Nathan, they are truly dead and buried, because Nathan's pace is insane, and this battling is slowing them down. On Larkin watch, he's now 10 seconds behind Jordan. I don't think he's going to have enough pace, even at his rate, to get that sprint race pole. He needs someone to drop out. But the main battle on track right now, isn't it, is Rocco versus Verstappen.
Yeah, with Larkin, he needs to get within, I think it's 3 seconds of James. Actually, James Head has 6 seconds of penalties. So Larkin needs to find another 4 seconds, and he could have reverse grid pole here. Tin Can well out of contention now with that penalty, as Rocco and Verstappen go side by side into the bus stop. Verstappen round the outside, turns to the inside for the final part for the left-hander of the chicane. But he stays behind, has the DRS, he closes it. He doesn't want to make this move into turn 1, does he? Has a look down the inside. What's Rocco going to do? Is Rocco going to give him the position? Let's find out. No, they stay in position, so Verstappen will have the DRS down to Les Combes as they go side by side towards Eau Rouge. They decide better of it. They think better of it. As Rocco picks up a time penalty, that's basically cost him all hopes of getting this 3rd place now, as Verstappen's going to breeze past down the straight. Campbell's got back past on Nathan for P1. That just basically seals that for him. As Verstappen now looking to seal P3, and actually, if he can find 4 attempts, he might be able to still sneak this 2nd place away from Nathan.
He might be, you know. I mean, Campbell, I'm sure they're in a party together. Well, I'm sure Nathan's in there as well. But if Campbell does a job for his QBR teammate and just backs up Nathan a little bit through Pouon, a little bit through Lafania, or through the bus stop, he can bring Verstappen into P2 here. I'm sure it'd be a little bit dodgy, but it's the last race of the season. Who's counting? And is Campbell being a little bit slow there? Nathan is hounding him a little bit. I don't think so though. I think Campbell is playing it nice and honourably. He's not going to help his QVR teammate out here, and it is going to be Campbell. I think who's going to win this race. Larkin watch, he's 6 seconds behind Jordan, but still 9 behind James. So I wonder if Jordan's actually got some damage. He's fallen away back. But look at Nathan. He's going to try and get this done on track, even if he has that penalty from the first 2 laps. He's touching the diffuser of Campbell. He's going to go around the outside. He's going to try and squeeze it, but he backs out. He doesn't. Well, it's not worth the risk for him, even though he's already champion. It's going to be Campbell who wins. As Nathan, I'm very distracted from myself there. I've cut across myself because Nathan decided to send that into the wall for the cameras, for the crowd. But it's Campbell who wins, up 1 place from second on the grid. Nathan, very impressive recovery drive. He finished second. Verstappen is third, just misses out by 1/10 of a second. Rocco is fourth. Carmentalist fifth. Farrell Fury sixth. Jordan seventh. James eighth. Larkin ninth. James is going to be on sprint race pole. We love to see it. Tin Can is 10th. He's reversing across the line. Ibo is 11th, coming through Blanchimont now. And B. Morgan, God knows what happened to him on his various misadventures. He's down in 12th place in the IAT. And it's going to be some 40-odd seconds before he crosses the line. But yeah, fair play to Campbell. He judged that one and played it beautifully.
Yeah, but he managed to get through those medium runners after the safety car. He was in the lead before the safety car. So he was the first one to come up to the medium runners afterwards and got through them very quickly and gave him enough of an advantage to fight off Nathan in the end. Nathan did get past, but he stayed with him and got him back on the DRS with Nathan's penalty. Made life very easy for him in the end, and a win. How many wins is he on now? That is his 6th win of the season. His 3rd feature race win, and he does it again in Spa. So there we go. Nathan, driver of the race. What do we think? What do we think? Who's the driver of the race for that one?
Oh, you can't put it past Nathan, can you? He is, as his name says, relentless. He didn't win the race. He missed out on the penalty. For that penalty, I think I could harshly cut it from not giving driver of the day, because the warning he got, the last warning going up Radion, was absolutely dumb from his part. But he drove a fabulous race, up 9 places from 11th on the grid. I mean, it was his own fault. He messed up qualifying. So actually, I'm going to take it away from him. I'm going to give it to Campbell, because Nathan, his own fault he got a penalty. It was his own fault he messed up qualifying. So actually, Nathan, you're in the bin. Campbell, driver of the day. I want to give shout-outs to Carl Mentalist, because he recovered. He was at the back of the field when he came out of the pits. James Head drove a nice, clean race as well. Not his 2 penalties notwithstanding. I think Larkin, Tin Can did good jobs, even though they were on the wrong strategy. So I think there's a few drivers in there that had shout-out performances, but Campbell especially. But yeah, to go through the final results, it's Campbell who wins. Nathan second, Verstappen third, Rocco fourth, Carmentalist fifth, Farrell Fury sixth, Jordan seventh, James Head on pole. Those two are the front row in the sprint. Larkin, Tin Can, Ibo, Morgan, Ryan B, and then Calvin, Darian, Eisen, who DNF so quickly I forgot they were even with us this evening.
Yeah, I also forgot about the HWA's synchronised spinning. I'm so glad I caught that on stream, because that is one of the moments of the season, hands down. And if there's ever any compilation made of this season, which I very much doubt because it's F2, then that should be the first thing on it, and probably the only thing on it. But there we have it. Sprint race, reverse grid, reverse the top 8 for this race. It's also less points, 18 points for the win compared to 25. And we have James Head starting on pole position, which he is regretting.
I'm happier to see more.
He is
James Head on pole. The James Fossey in full swing, backing him in the combox. Win is coming his way today, right now, in this sprint.
Yeah, he has not had the best of luck in in reverse grids so far. When he's had pole, he's gone through down the field very quickly on the first lap. He's just been put out of position slightly every time. It's not really his fault, but one overtake leads to another, and suddenly he's down in 7th. But he's always driven strong races this season. The pace has definitely picked up in the second half. Second half of the season, he's been a completely different driver to what he was the first couple of rounds. But here he is, reverse grid pole yet again. Jordan, I can't remember the last time Jordan was on in the reverse grid, but he is in second place with the 2 Carlins, Pharrell Fury, car mentalist behind them. And then we have Rocco, Verstappen, Nathan and Campbell rounding off that top 8, the 4 really battling for that podium and that win last time around. And then Larkin and Tinkan just behind them. So they also had the pace, but they got caught out by the safety car. And Ibo, 11th place on the grid. So I don't know what his highest start in a sprint race is this season, but that has to be up there. B Morgan 12th, Ryan B 13th, and then the 3 that retired, starting at the back in order of how they retired. So Calvin, then followed by Darry and Eisen. And that is the 16. So still 15 that score points. If you finish the race or do, was it 90% or 75%? I can't remember. But they have to get that distance if they want to score points. So none of those 3 scored points in the last race. I don't know about Ryan actually. He might have scored points, depending on how close it was. But
Well, having seen him in D3 this season, I have to say Calvin, bit of a bottle. I'm not expecting him to finish. Sorry, Calvin, but it's true. I have to say James is doing some hyper radius weaving here. He's really going at it down the Kemmel Straight and on the run towards the hairpin. He was properly getting some heat into those tyres. And we've got Darry and Eisen, who are very far adrift at the back of the field here. It's going to be... Oh, and it's Nathan. Nathan's been very cheeky here on his last race of the season. If I was him, I'd say this deserves a quali ban for next season at the first round, because this is stupid from the champion. Don't want to call him out like that. But it is Eisen doing the same as well. But Nathan wants the freshest tyres he can get, the hottest tyres he can get, stickiest tyres, so no wonder. But still, ban that man.
Yep, as he takes his grid slot now, 7th place, as we have 9 laps in front of us. Lap count very low because it is Spa, but the lights are coming on now. We have 5 red lights for the sprint race, and away we go. Bit of a longer hold than the first one, and good start for James. He should keep first into the first corner, as Jordan has a look around the outside, can't get the traction down. James holds on to first. There's a bit of swapping behind. Rocco still in 5th from Verstappen, Nathan and Campbell. They're holding positions. So come up towards the hill now, and there is Feral Fury round as they're coming up Eau Rouge. And I think he might have got clipped by his teammate there, so that was very unfortunate. As we've got massive moves in the background. Tinkan up to 6th place, Campbell up to 5th. As James holds on to first position. It's all going off in the background. Nathan and Tinkan side by side. And
he was trying to overtake Verstappen up Eau Rouge, and he ended up getting passed by Campbell and by Tinkan. He's fighting for his life here just to hold on to 6th place. Tinkan trying to go around the outside. Nathan does well to hold on the end. Larkin nearly got past Nathan at turn 1 as well, and Verstappen, who was ahead of Nathan down the straight, has found himself losing out to Nathan, Tinkan and Larkin in the space of just a few corners there. Campbell was the big gainer in that. Nathan as well. Nathan did well to hold on to where he was. But yeah, nice swapping of positions in the midfield there, but James Head and Jordan have done a calm job here, haven't they, in holding on to the first 2 places. Car Mentalist is all over the back of the UNI of Jordan. I wonder if we can see the Carlin man come through anytime soon. Jordan has a touch oversteer out of Stavolo, and that has put him right in the sights of Car Mentalist. He's going to get past him even before we get anywhere near Blanchimont here. Jordan just takes to the outside of the line. He says to Car Mentalist, after you, sir. He jumps inside. Rocco, look at Rocco's overspeed. Rocco can get both of them here. He's side by side with Jordan. In fact, Carl Mendes leaves half a width at the outside. Rocco is up there. Campbell and Tin Can are trying to follow him through. Jordan's going to get absolutely mugged off through the bus stop. He's not. He just about holds on. Nicely done by him. But he's got his teammate right behind, QBR Campbell. Nathan's looking interested as well. Everyone's popping out to spot a braking zone. Nathan touches Jordan trying to pass Campbell there into La Source. But I think he's got that one done. We're going to see side by side through here. Upper Rouge, Jordan, if he has any sense, he'll pull to the left hand side, give his teammate a tow. But how much does Campbell want to hold on here? He has to back out. He understeers. That's a 3-second penalty. And now Tin Can and Larkin are very much in the slipstream. Nathan's going to find himself very vulnerable here to not just one, not two, but 3 cars. As Tin Can's boxed in, Larkin has to back out, and Nathan just about holds on there. But Jordan has to take the escape road, and Tin Can touches the inside of Campbell, spun round. I think Tin Can was distracted. I think they both were by the errant Jordan going over Lecom, and that took Tin Can right out of things. Gave Campbell a proper swapper on as well. And further behind, look, we've got 2 HWAs, Calvin and Darry going at it through Bruzel, so how you say that, and then through No Name. And we've got Eisen behind them spinning off at the exit of No Name. No damage for him, but he'll have to carry on right at the back with B. Morgan and Ibo. But it's still James Head in the lead.
Yeah, we seem to carry on exactly where we left off in the last race. Absolute carnage everywhere. Overtakes left, right and centre. And Nathan still progressing up the field into 5th. Alright, he got past Campbell on the last lap at turn 1. And now Rocco's going for P2 on Carmentelis. He's got the inside as they come up towards Blanchimont. I don't think Carmentelis is going to fight it. He tucks back in behind. And Rocco's back now up to P2. So he's got a very good opportunity to end the season with a win. He goes deep into the final corner and manages to hold that position as DRS is going to get enabled this time around. Jordan on the back of Nathan, as is Campbell. Campbell's going to go through on his teammate into P5. But they're all going to have a great run up the hill, all with DRS, except from James. And James doing a very good job in the lead so far, as Jordan falls back in behind Larkin now. So he's lost out to the Prema driver as well, and Verstappen on the back of this group. And then there's a bit of a gap back to Ryan. So there's this lead 8. They're going with James, as Carmentelis pulls out to the left-hand side of Rocco, to the outside. And manages, he goes deep late on the brakes, can't get it stopped.
Jordan's round, sorry.
Yep, Jordan goes round as Nathan manages to get past Carmentelis, who went way too late on the brakes, into Lecom, and Nathan now up to 3rd position.
I have to feel a bit sorry for Verstappen in all this. He's just somehow following the back of his trade, not really done anything or done anything wrong. But that first lap was cost him, he lost about 4 places. And now he can't really find a way through anybody. He's only got past Jordan because Jordan had that spin up at Lecom. And look at Campbell here on the back of Carmendes. Carmendes was having a go at Nathan. As it is, he needs to watch his mirrors for Campbell behind. He leaves a little bit of space in the Lefanu chicane and covers the apex nicely at the second part. Runs wide though, dips a wheel in the gravel. So he's going to put Campbell and Verstappen and Larkin right on him through the main straight. We've got someone spinning in the background. That's one of the UNIs. That's Jordan, I think, that made a little mistake. Campbell, Larkin, really tucking into Carmentelis' slipstream here. He's too far back, I think, from Nathan to get any kind of slipstream. Larkin could even be looking for a double slipstream here, and you can see how close he is to the back of Campbell through the Blanchimont. Campbell goes left, Carmentelis goes middle. Larkin, is he going to go right? In fact, he punches the back of Carmentelis, who then takes Campbell out in the process. Rocco and Nathan doing similar up ahead, and Campbell and Larkin take each other out nearly. That gives Verstappen the chance to get through. Rocco was taken out by Nathan as well. I say taken out by, I have no idea what happened. He might have just got a bit trigger happy on the throttle. Verstappen then cuts right back underneath Campbell and Larkin and gets 2 places for the price of 1, but they're going to be side by side up at the Eau Rouge. The kink left and then the splash right, and I think Campbell's going to have to get back out of that one or he gets another penalty. Larkin has to take avoiding action to the escape road, and now Verstappen is going to find himself very vulnerable to 2 very hungry cars, and Calvin, the flying Belgian, is going to go 4 wide here. And how did they not crash? That was sensational, but they do crash, and Calvin nearly out of it. He finds a way through Campbell though. Penalty for James Head up ahead. They're bashing wheels, sidewall to sidewall. Verstappen's going to try and get some revenge here for losing 3 places in the space of about 20 metres. And Calvin, why did he stick his nose up there? He's up on the grass. He's now just lost a place for Verstappen, and what was a very good lap for Calvin just got a lot worse. But it's James Head with a penalty from Nathan, from Carl Mentis, from Larkin, from Campbell, also with a 3-second penalty. And then we've got Verstappen and Calvin Farrell Fury, Tin Can and Rocker, who were up with this group briefly, Jordan as well, now very much out of that one. And I'm going to stop talking for a bit.
Yeah, and yeah, time to breathe. That was ridiculous, to be honest. Verstappen taking well, he was up in 4th before the coming up to the DRS detection point, and he was back down to 7th by the end of the straight. As they're looking to go for round 2 here. Campbell still within, they're all within DRS range of Larkin, the lead of this group, doesn't have the DRS at the moment. But here we are, starting lap 5, halfway point of this race. As B. Morgan picks up a 3-second penalty. James leading from Nathan. Nathan very close in behind now with the DRS. Whether he can get the run on him this time around, I don't know. Is Larkin going to be able to sneak into DRS? Doesn't look like it, so Larkin's going to be a bit under threat from Campbell here. Verstappen with Calvin all over him. And actually, I think Nathan's made a bit of a mistake. He's fallen all the way back towards Car Mentalist here. Car Mentalist is going to breeze past Nathan. And Car Mentalist retakes 2nd place in this race as Campbell gets past Larkin. And Calvin and Verstappen are side by side going into Le Com. Who's going to come out ahead? Verstappen tries to go around the outside. Calvin has a little bit of a wiggle, trying to get the traction down. He goes way off the track at the exit of Malmedy, and actually Verstappen is going to keep that position, so very well defended from him. But Nathan losing out big time. I think he must have made a mistake because he didn't have DRS, so he must have made a mistake coming out of the first corner, and that has cost him big time, down to 3rd.
I can only assume he went very deep at La Source or bus stop for that kind of error. Calvin, I just saw in the background, went really wide on the exit of P1. You mentioned going wide at Malmedy. I think he was being very sneaky there, trying to avoid a warning by extending the track, but he got his comeuppance because he got one half a lap later, half a sector later rather. But he's having a good race, Calvin. I said he was going to bowl. He hasn't so far, so he's in a good shape. But look at this train we've got coming behind Car Mentalist now. We've got Nathan 3/10, Campbell 3/10, Larkin 4/10 back. It's and Nathan, I wondered if he had some kind of damage with the rate, how quickly Car Mentalist passed him, but he's not. He's straight back on it. He's trying to shape to the left and to the right to get an angle on Car Mentalist towards La Source. He ends up just putting Campbell straight on his backside. And he's going to have to go very defensively, Nathan. He can't go to the outside of the track now because Campbell's there. He's going to have a compromise line through 1. Rear locking for Campbell. His car sliding away there. Larkin with his ABS just chilling, laughing away in the background, thinking, just use ABS, you absolute mug. But Car Mentalist are doing a really nice job to hang on here. And you can see, I think we're in for another 3-wide situation here because look at Nathan, look at Campbell. And Campbell's got so much overspeed on both of them. Nathan pulls to the right, Campbell pulls righter. Larkin's praying they crash in front of him. Campbell has to back out. Nathan's through. Can Campbell follow him? It can be side by side through the second part of the com and then through Malmedy. Larkin's keeping a very close watch on this, and Campbell's actually just touched onto the curb by Car Mentalist there. I don't think there's anything in it, but it's put him, Campbell, straight out of that battle. And somehow Car Mentalist is still managing to hang on to a podium place here, but Larkin 2/10 per second behind. And I think on lap 6, James's run in the lead of this race is going to finally come to a close, because look how close Nathan is now.
Yeah, very well held from Campbell there. That could have been a very nasty incident. It's very, very rare you see a car go off to the right there and actually come back onto the track. So very well held indeed, as Larkin's still all the way over the all over the back of Car Mentalist, and Nathan all over the back of the race leader. James doing a fantastic job so far in this race. 2/3 of the way through, as we are on lap 6 of 9. With that penalty, obviously, which will get applied right at the end of the race. And Nathan looking to cap off a championship season with a win. He's going to go to the outside here at the chicane, and he's going to get him all the way round on the brakes. Very good move from Nathan, gets it done. well before the corner, round the outside, and he has the DRS as well, I think. So he is into the lead of this race. The champion takes the lead as Larkin still all over the back of Car Mentalist. Is James going to have a run up the hill at Nathan as well? They're all joining this battle now. They all have DRS. Verstappen a bit further back, still battling Calvin, as Pharrell, Fury and Dari have also joined that battle. As B. Morgan has just retired in the pit as we come up the Kemmel Straight. A lot of weaving going on as James is going to have a try and get P1 back from Nathan. He cuts across.
Nathan's got damage.
And that is front wing damage from Nathan. I think right hand side end plate damage, I think. As James cut back across, and I think Nathan just wasn't expecting just quite the difference in speed, the brakes wise. As Larkin has got through on Carmen's list into third place. So Nathan now with the damage, it's going to severely compromise him. Can James actually win this race? On track, let's ignore the penalty. On track, can James actually hold on to win this race?
Well, on track, I think there's definitely a chance, but overall, I don't think so. I think Larkin is going to take this one. Campbell and Car Mentalist. Campbell obviously has a penalty. I think we're looking at a Larkin, Car Mentalist, James podium here. Although Nathan's not falling back, is he? Even with that damage, it was a proper whack. You could see it come off on screen. He's got visible damage, not just light damage. And he's still going at it with James Head, so it's not holding him back too much. So actually, I think Nathan is very much in the shout of this win still, but we'll see how much speed Larkin has in comparison. There's still, of course, 2 laps to go, and you can see that Larkin is quicker than both of these two right now. Campbell and Car Mentalist as well. So this is going to be really fine points for the last 2 laps. James defending fresh air pulling inside of the pit straight there. I'm not sure why he's taking such. He's compromising his turn 1, has a little square of traction on the exit as well, and now I think we're going to see Larkin and Nathan properly make their moves here down the Kemmel Straight.
James has done a fantastic job to lead this race all the way into the penultimate lap, but it just looks like it's going to go this time around. Larkin is the danger man, really. Nathan's going to get through, but here comes Larkin straight through the middle of both of them. He's going to have the inside for the first part of Le Calm. Nathan's going to hang it round the outside, turns to the inside, but Larkin with a better run into Malmedy and gets into P1. So fantastic move from Larkin, takes the lead of this race from his teammate on the penultimate lap as Nathan has a look again down into Bruxelles, and he's going to have to hold it round the outside of No Name Corner, and he can't quite do that with the front wing damage. So Larkin holds on to the lead that he's just gained, and Nathan still in second. James now down to third with Campbell all over the back of him with that penalty, with his penalty as well. So this is a genuine battle. If James can beat him on track, he beats him overall. So this will be a great one to the end, but Campbell's all over the back of him. He's actually got a run already into the first part of Stavalo, and he has a little bit of a twitch turning into the corner, but manages to get the move done. James now down to 4th position. Car Mentalist still at the back of this queue, and he picks up a penalty, and Nathan's also picked up a penalty. So now Larkin in a very good position to pick up a win right at the end of this season. Has he? I will check. He has won 2 races this season, but he has not won since the 4th round in Bahrain. 2 sprint race wins. And this is going to see him comfortably beat Rocco to 4th place in the championship.
Sorry, I was just completely zoned out there. I was just watching Nathan with Larkin. That was really bizarre, the way Nathan broke for that corner. I know he's trying to keep his DRS full. Oh, we've got a spinner at the back. That's Calvin. No, it's not. It's Dari, sorry. He's just trying to hold on to DRS with Nathan, but he broke in a really weird way. He just seemed to break in perfect synchrony with Larkin. He pulls up the inside now. He's going to take the lead of this race, but Larkin just has to hold on and avoid penalties, and he's got the job done. Further back, I think Campbell is going to be our 3rd podium finisher. Unfortunate for James Head to drop back to 5th, but he put up a really stout defence for 8 laps to hold on to the lead of this race. It was a bit too much for him in the end, but a fabulous drive from him. Larkin and Nathan, I'm still not convinced they've actually finished battling for this lap, because Nathan is struggling on with that front downforce, and you can see he's just not got quite the turn in that he had at the start of this race. Campbell as well. There's a chance for Campbell here, if Nathan makes any kind of mistake with that damage, for Campbell to nick second place as well. So don't count your chickens yet, folks, because Larkin very much looking interested in winning this race on track and ending the season with a flourish. It's certainly not going to be heading Nathan's way, I don't think, with penalties. And we've got 3 cars line astern all the way up now for the run towards the bus stop chicane, and I think Campbell has got the best run out of all of them here.
Yeah, but James has picked up another penalty, so that's going to drop him further down the field. Doesn't reflect the race he's had at all. As Campbell is going to move past Larkin. He's trying to get this position off Nathan. This is for P2 in the race overall. Nathan has gone deep on the brakes. He's going to get the inside for the next part of the corner. Is Campbell going to have the run to the line? This is the final lap. Nathan is weaving. He's going to finish second in the end. Larkin takes the win. It's crossing the line in third place, but Nathan, Campbell both drop down on penalties. Verstappen ends up fourth. Tin Can ends up fifth in this race after being, I think he crossed the line in ninth. I think Verstappen crossed the line in seventh. Car Mentalist in sixth. Calvin seventh. Rocco manages to get back up to eighth. James in the end drops all the way to ninth, but that no reflection in this race at all. For Fury in 10th, and then we have, I think Darry's reversed over the line. Yes, he has. And we have Eisen, Jordan, and Ibo yet to cross the line. So Larkin is our final race winner in season 6, and just kept it clean for the whole race, no penalties, and it's won him the race in the end.
Yeah, I think Larkin did everything he needed to do. That was a typical Larkin performance, a typical Larkin win, really. Nathan gave him a good go at it. I think without damage, Nathan had a chance to win that race, even with his penalty, because he was so quick. But yeah, great job from Campbell. Double podium, of course, for him. Verstappen was unlucky that first lap, where he lost 3 places, just took him out of the fight a little bit. I think he could have felt like he could have got better from this race. Tin Can had a great recovery. Car Mentalist will be very disappointed to come around 6th. James Head only 9th after having led 8 laps of this race. Unfortunate for him. But say a cracking pair of races to end the season. Some absolutely fabulous wheel-to-wheel racing.
Yeah, fantastic. And Larkin game gives him driver of the day. I'm going to have to agree, because I think he started 9th, just missed out on reverse good pole. But did excellently to get through, and kept his cool when, well, with the track limits when others couldn't, and he takes home the final sprint race of win of the year, his 3rd of the season, with Nathan and Campbell on the podium next to him, the top 2 in the championship. So we now have to do interviews. I don't know if I've explained it to you. We do the 2 race winners, and then we get to pick one, another driver. Obviously, if they want to do it. So we have Larkin and Campbell. Do you have someone you would particularly want to interview?
I'm not sure. I feel like it's the last one of the season. I think if we're going to have a look back at the season as a whole, as well as this race, then perhaps maybe you're best to pick someone you think.
We interviewed Nathan last week. So last week we interviewed Nathan. It would have been Nathan, Rocco, and Tin Can. So we do Campbell, Larkin, and I think we'll base it on this race, but the whole season as a whole. If we can get James, that would be fantastic. Because it's he is obviously a very good commentator, so you can see it from that side. But having switched from commentating to racing and getting back into racing, and he's done excellently this season. To be where he is, I think he's probably finished. He might have actually snuck into the top 10 in the championship at the end of this, so that is a fantastic job from him. So if we can, that would be a fantastic interview, I think.
We'll get them in the party with us.
As I'll just run down the results of that race. Larkin wins with. It always does this. I don't think he actually has the fastest lap. I think the fastest lap went to Campbell, but it says purple for Larkin for some reason. But Larkin wins from Nathan. Campbell in third, Verstappen fourth, Tin Can in fifth, Car Mentalist in sixth, Calvin, Rocco, James, and Pharrell Fury round out the top 10 with Darry, Eisen, Jordan, Ibo rounding off the point scorers, and then B Morgan and Ryan B retiring from the session. So that is another season of F2 done, the first on the F1 2021 game. And overall, a very, very good season from all the drivers, and a cracking way to go out at Spa. As we are just waiting for a few drivers for interviews.
I apologise, I can't multitask. Need to add James' friend before we can add him to the party.
Hopefully, we can get everyone in. I don't know the final standings, but I'm pretty sure Campbell has held on to second. I think he did it in the first race. He won the first race, which should secure him second in the championship. And Larkin should have secured fourth place in the championship over Rocco. Those were the two main fights. The midfield's a complete mess, and I don't have a clue. So, there we go. Right. Do we now have everyone?
We do not have Campbell. We
Do we
have
not?
Campbell. We do have Campbell. We do have Campbell.
Alright, so... Are you doing this? Am I doing this? I don't...
I wouldn't know what to ask. I'm never the lead interviewer, but I can cobble something together. How was... I want to ask you, Lewis, how was that in that hectic pressure pot of battling that seemed to go on for absolutely forever? Because I imagine it's a very stressful situation to be in. I think that's much more stressful than when you're being hunted by one car or chasing down another car. It seemed absolutely chaotic, and it was very hard to keep track of at times. How was it for you in there?
So you mean the sprint race, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. It was felt strange because this season in the F2 cars, slipstream in DRS hasn't been that powerful. Maybe Baku, but everywhere else it seemed very weak and not very helpful. But today it was very strong. If you could get a run up a Rouge and Radeon, you could get 2 cars or 3 cars at once, as I think nearly happened. Yeah, you need to be very aware because anything within half a second, then you're almost in like a danger zone of possibly being overtaken. So it's a difficult one to try and judge lap in, lap out.
It seemed like there was a lot of the slipstream was extremely powerful because more than one occasion drivers seemed to be climbing over the back of each other at the top of Radeon, let alone at the end of the straight. And I know there were a few situations where, and Larkin was involved in one as well, where it was 3 or 4 wide come the end of the straight. I've never seen that in a race before where it was so close to the end of the straight. But were you? I've completely forgotten what happened in those races, because so much happened. Mm-hmm. But you're battling with Nathan. How was that for you? Talk us through that, because he had a penalty in the feature race. How hard were you fighting that? How much were you wanting to win that on track?
I was only going to go for the move if I could get it with DRS, how he did. Of course, he tried to retake DRS at turn 1, but I was more than happy to follow him in the slower, offline part of the track, because, as you say, he had the penalty. I believe I only had 1 warning at the time, so I was more than happy to sit in behind and make the easy move with DRS. I was never going to risk anything later in the lap if it wasn't going to happen at the end of the Kemmel straight. If it happened, it happened. If it didn't, I would have happily sat in behind.
I respect that, following the XL Larkin school of motoring there. Speaking of XL Larkin, we'll move on to our sprint race winner. And I have to say, that was the most Larkin-y performance I've ever seen from Larkin on a racetrack. You went from where were you, ninth you started to first, and you didn't seem to get involved all that much. People just seemed to get involved around you. How was that picking your way through?
Um, yeah, it was good fun. I made a few overtakes. I wasn't just watching people crash off in front of me. But yeah, I mean, based on what you said, I think the sort of big example of that was sort of the last lap or so. I knew Nathan and Lewis had penalties, so I didn't bother battling Nathan. I let him just drive off, and I sat him behind, and then let Lewis go as well on the last straight, because I didn't want any risk of someone trying to overtake me getting involved in someone, and getting a DNF. I'd quite happy to finish P3 on track if I finish P1 on pens. It don't bother me that I'm further down on track. The points in the standings are what I care about.
Yeah, I was doing you a discredit to say that was a lack of points, because you drove extremely well. Was it you involved in the moment where there was four wide towards Lecom? There was one moment, Campbell might have been involved in this or not, I think Verstappen definitely was, where there were four wide. I think you were one of them. It was you, Verstappen, Calvin,
Yeah.
and another. How was that?
Yeah.
That was very
I think
scary.
I had coming out of turn one. I think I was first, and I'd been a little bit delayed in getting on the accelerator to make sure I had DRS. And then Lewis and Verstappen went past, and then it was just mad going down the straight. But yeah, I think we all got through it cleanly. I think.
It was remarkably clean for four wide.
Yeah, I mean, when there's certain drivers that aren't on the grid, then it means that it's a little bit cleaner than usual. So, thank God Cali and Miami weren't here, right?
I was ready to ask you to name names, but you've shamed your XL teammates
No,
instead.
they're the only people I can think of that were missing.
I'm going to move on now to the people's hero, James Head 14. Well, I want to say you're my driver of the sprint. You held on tremendously well for 8 laps. What happened at the end there? Obviously you had the penalties, but on track, did the tyres just die off for you?
Yeah, front left was absolutely shot. I think I got to the end of that race on about 8% in terms of the wear, which was unreal, I think, for 9 laps around on a set of mediums around Belgium. It's just unbelievable. But yeah, honestly, the race was so fun. I was thinking to myself, oh, I'm going to win this. I'm going to win this. This is going to be like an absolute heroism, like, victory. But no, people had to ruin my fun, sadly, so thank you for that.
Well, you held on very nicely, because at various points it seemed like Nathan was going to overtake you, Carmentless was going to overtake you, and they just seemed to fall away a little bit, and you just kept merrily toodling along, and you held on, but then obviously the penalties you came unstuck with. I just want to ask though, Campbell and Larkin, did you have similar problems with the tyres, or was...
I didn't even look.
I felt them getting worse, but I didn't dare look at them just in case they did get bad. I know in the feature race they were very bad at the end. That's why I think Nathan was so quick compared to me in the last few laps. But the sprint, the tyres felt better. They held on a bit more compared to the feature.
It's very hard to tell, because when you're watching on board whether the tyres are going, I'm sure you'll know that, James. It's very, very difficult to tell from commentating how the tyres are going. But you drove a fabulous race, and you have some very cracking defensive drive, especially the calibre of drivers you had behind you. Anyone who can keep Nathan behind him for more than a lap in F2 deserves a shout out. But,
no, honestly, I rate Nathan backing off me just to let me lead an extra lap, so I fully rate that. So thank you, Nathan, if you're listening.
I did wonder if that's what's happening, because when I saw Nathan's about to overtake him, I thought, is he giving James his moment of glory here, or is he have some kind of problem? But,
You've got to let me have my moment of glory, and then it's back to normal on Saturday, of course. So yeah.
Oh, it was an absolute delight to see up front. I'm sure the James folks will be out in their droves in the streets tonight. I certainly will. But thank you all for joining us. It's been a pleasure to commentate exactly all of one a race this evening. Thank you, RJ, for letting me interview our delightful podium, winners, and James Head, the people's favourite. But yeah, thank you for letting me jump in the combox, and thank you, and I'm sure I speak for the organisers as well, Jordan especially, for commentating all season and being an absolute legend.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate the praise. I've said many times I don't know where it comes from, but yeah, you guys, James, the improvement I've seen from you, I've never seen you race before this season, but the improvement I've seen this season has been ridiculous. I can't remember what race it was, but there was one race where you came out of nowhere and qualified about sixth or seventh, and at that point the pace kind of it stayed. You were consistent for the rest of the season, and it was fantastic. I think you might have snuck into the top 10, so that's a complete credit to you for all season. And Campbell trying to keep up with Nolan all season is no, not Nolan. Sorry, so someone said drivers weren't here, and I got Nolan stuck in my head. But yeah, trying to keep up with Nathan all season is definitely not the easiest task, and I mean, you gave it a good go, and it's an improvement on last season. Obviously, with Toxic not being here, it's always going to take one driver out of title contention from the start. But yeah, ridiculous how you managed to take that until the final penultimate round, and then Larkin, I think, held on to fourth in the end. I can't remember where you came last season. I'll have a look. Yeah, ninth in the championship, which. I mean, you beat Nathan by a point last season, so, but yeah, massive improvement from you as well. So, well done to you three. And so, I think we can end things there. Thanks everyone for tuning in for the whole season, all 12 rounds. We will be back F2. I think in the new year. I'm not entirely sure what Jordan has planned. But I will not be commentating next season for certain commitments. But hopefully whoever does take it on, I think Jake said he might. I've thrown you in it now, Jake.
I'd be delighted to.
But whoever does take it on has got this league. It's in good hands, and whoever takes it on. So, yeah, LOE F1 is back this Saturday at Monza. 6:30 UK or 8 PM UK time, depending on the division, and this is F2 done for the season, and we will be back in the new year.